Okay, let's dive into this. Today we have an absolutely incredible explainer lined up for you. We are going to demystify AI agents. You know, going straight from the nitty-gritty of how they're built under the hood using the Haystack framework, all the way up to this massive macro software shift that's unfolding right before our eyes. We'll be pulling some really key insights directly from chapters 10 and 11 of our source material, specifically pages 237 through 260. So grab a coffee and let's get into it.
To really anchor just how high the stakes of this generative AI revolution are, I want to kick things off with a pretty wild perspective. Juan Jose Lopez Murphy, he's the head of data science and AI at Globant, he put it like this. AI agents will have important use cases throughout different industries. The more mature they are in their digital journeys, the more they'll act like software companies. I mean, let that sink in for a second. We aren't just talking about passive chatbots anymore, right? In media, agents are going to independently aggregate data for hyper-personalized recommendations. In healthcare, they could proactively test compounds and create much stronger predictions. It's a whole new ballgame of autonomous entities driving actual core business value.
So to truly grasp this potential, we need to understand exactly how a generative AI agent is actually constructed. And honestly, the Haystack framework is literally the perfect tool for us to zoom in and see this. Developed by a Berlin-based startup called DeepSet, Haystack is this open-source framework designed explicitly for building advanced AI applications using large language models, or LLMs. Because it focuses so heavily on modularity and flexibility, it makes for a fantastic, totally transparent playground for our explainer today.
So the crucial point is how these building blocks work together, kind of like a well-oiled assembly line. First up, you have the pipeline. This is what lets you link a whole series of processes together, from retrieving a document to spitting out the final answer. Next is the document itself, which is exactly what it sounds like, a single unit of text used to answer a question. Then we have secret. This one is absolutely vital for securely handling your private info, like your OpenAI API keys, so you don't accidentally leak them in your code. And finally, the in-memory document store. This guy holds your documents right in active memory, so the system can look them up, boom, instantly.
Now, let's walk through the actual recipe for building a retrieval-augmented generation, or RAG, pipeline using these components. It's wonderfully logical. Step 1. The in-memory BM25 retriever dives into your document store and fetches the absolute best matching documents for whatever the user just asked. Step 2. The prompt builder steps up. It takes those retrieved documents and practically injects them directly into a predefined template to build the final prompt. And step 3, the OpenAI generator takes that fully baked, context-rich prompt and generates a seamless, accurate response using OpenAI's GPT models. It's just this beautifully clean process, you know? Fetch the facts first, then generate the words.
But what if we want our agent to do way more than just read static text documents? Well, this brings us to a massive leap in capability, adding real-time function calling. This framework actually empowers agents to make real-time decisions and execute real-world actions. For example, you can give the agent specific tools in your code, like fetching current weather data or pinpointing a user's location. So when someone asks, "Hey, should I wear a jacket in London today?" the agent doesn't just guess based on old training data. It actually pauses, uses the weather tool, pulls the live data, and gives an accurate answer based on what's happening outside right now. How cool is that?
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that dynamic decision-making flows. At the very top, the message collector gathers the user's input and passes it straight to the generator. The generator evaluates it and asks, wait, do I need external data for this? If it does, it sends instructions down to the function caller. The function caller then runs that real-world tool, like our weather check from a second ago, and sends the results straight back up to the message collector. Finally, the generator processes that brand new information to craft the final, highly intelligent reply to the user. It is just a continuous, logical loop of reasoning and acting.
Of course, a brilliantly engineered backend is kind of useless if your user can't actually interact with it, right? Fortunately, you can seamlessly plug these intricate pipelines into a web-based conversational interface. By using tools like Gradio, developers can wrap their Haystack agents in a super clean, interactive chat UI with just a few lines of code. This means you get immediate, real-world user interaction. A user can literally just type a question into their browser and actually watch the agent think, call functions, and respond in real time. It completely bridges that gap between complex code and a smooth user experience.
All right, zooming out a bit here, let's talk about rethinking software as a whole. For a long time, the industry relied heavily on robotic process automation. Static bots just doing repetitive tasks over and over.
But AI agents represent a massive evolution away from that, moving us firmly into the realm of autonomous decision-making. Now, what's really fascinating about this macro shift is how it completely flips the concept of business value on its head. If software is now doing the complex, autonomous work of a human, those old pricing models, they just stop making sense. We are actively shifting away from paying per seat or per user toward outcome-based pricing. We're talking about paying for measurable improvements in productivity or tangible cost savings. Basically, you are paying for the results, not just access to a platform.
Now, as with any major tech shift, there are hurdles. So let's look at the challenges ahead, specifically the limitations of transformer models.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that, as exciting as this macro shift is, we have to look objectively at the roadblocks. Highlighting these limitations doesn't take away from the incredible potential, it just gives us a clear-eyed view of where the tech stands right now. First off, transformer models are prone to hallucinations, meaning, yeah, they can confidently generate false or completely misleading information. Second, they're restricted by cutoff dates. Their core training data doesn't intuitively know what happened yesterday unless it uses external tools, like that function calling we discussed earlier. And finally, they require ongoing refinement. To stay reliable and accurate, these models need constant fine-tuning and alignment. Really, these are simply the current speed bumps in an incredibly fast-moving landscape.
Moving right along, choosing your AI framework. Let's look at the ultimate cheat sheet.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the broader development ecosystem. Knowing how these agents work and the challenges they face, how do you actually pick the right tool to build one? Well, looking at this breakdown, you can really get a sense of the distinct flavors of these frameworks. If you want a system where agents work collaboratively, like a literal committee of experts, AutoGen is a fantastic choice with a moderate learning curve. On the flip side, if you want something incredibly intuitive that mimics how human teams actually operate day to day, CrewAl is excellent. It has a super gentle learning curve, making it perfect for stuff like financial modeling. Then you have LangGraph and LangChain, which offer immense, heavy-duty power for complex logic and diagnostics, though they definitely demand a steeper learning curve. And of course, Haystack, which we've been deep diving into today. It really hits the absolute sweet spot for conversational AI that needs heavy access to external knowledge retrieval.
We have covered so much ground today, from the raw modular code of a Haystack pipeline all the way up to macroeconomic shifts in software pricing and the diverse landscape of AI frameworks. The potential of AI agents is, honestly, boundless. We're watching them transform from mere software tools into autonomous team members that can plan, retrieve, execute, and reason. So, as you take all this structured knowledge into your own digital journey, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. What will your first agent build? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.